So Nietzsche has provided us with very interesting proof of the feebleness of the first law of thought, or um, prima philosophia of Aristotle, which has come down to us as the law of identity. And so the other laws, of course, have been challenged. So far as formal logic goes, in any case, with the pair-consistent logic and the solutions to the problem of explosion and the other non-standard logics affecting either the second law of thought, so-called the law of non-contradiction, or the one which is tilted towards Zizek, the Hegelian one, which affects the law of the excluded middle. So there have been other operations which have shown the, as it were, accidental nature of the other two laws, but there's a nice kind of phenomenological journey to the center of the earth of the principle of identity, which is at the bottom of all the principles and very similar to substance in Aristotle, the problem of primary substance, or to the idea in Plato, as somehow set off against physis. So Nietzsche is saying, with respect to the will in Beyond Good and Evil, that the common sense, and then Schopenhauer in his folly has gone along with the common sense and exaggerated it, according to Nietzsche, is saying, just assumes the will is the will is one thing. And so Nietzsche's argument is that when we look at what we're saying by will, we find out there's components to it. It's a complex. So, for instance, that we assume that there's somehow one who commands and one who obeys, and somehow this supremacy of the one who commands, as it were, the ego telling the rest of the self to do something, or something like that. There's some kind of complex has been put together here, and therefore it could be otherwise. So we say there's something called the will, but why is that true? How do we know we're talking about this particular bundle of parts rather than a different bundle of parts? And then you can derive from that in a, as it were, mathematical manner that since the same thing happens for all the other concepts, whether it's emotion or whether it's thinking or whatever you like, or possibly we could break in and challenge whether something like thinking in the sense of logos is actually higher than the exterior senses, or whether they actually are exterior or not, or whether thinking is actually inner or not, and so on. This explosion of identity goes in different directions. So if will, in this example, is a complex, then there's something accidental about it. And if it's a complex, the other concepts are also complexes, and therefore their relationship, one as in a Rubik's cube, or let's say the Tetris game alongside the other, are fitting together in all kinds of advanced forms, which would be difficult for the strongest crossword puzzles. I don't know how well Bill Clinton did against the actual sort of semi-pros that do it. But I heard he was pretty good at crossword puzzles. But this is a crossword puzzle, which is we could coordinate to the thinking of Derrida when Derrida talks, when Derrida misspells the French word for difference, and his mother scolds him, but he's actually created a new technical term or term of art to describe this kind of situation, um, which I'm myself describing as a kind of negative logic. So, because we're still dealing with a kind of ontic phenomenology here from Heidegger's point of view, in other words, we're still centered around the principle of identity, but we're knocking it out of shape in various different ways.